Today we're going to talk about the AR-15 and gas block installation and common problems and why the AR-15 in a direct impingement gun is having problems. And there's really one basic reason.
It ain't got no gas in it.
We had some questions before on a build out. I want to talk about the seals. I'm going to go backwards on this build and come forward. Let me get my glasses and then we're going to talk about the gasser. So when we get uppers in from people, you know, whatever the story is, I bought it at the gun show, or my friend and I put this gun together, and we're shooting it, and we're having some ejection problems. It's not functioning correctly. I'm going to want to see the entire upper to see exactly what is happening and giving us the issue. So we're not going to go into construction techniques and components. I took my Texas Pete's home, so I can't really season this particular thing right now, but I think it'll be okay for demonstration purposes only. If you come over here and take a look, let me push this down a little. As the bullet is leaving the barrel, it hits this gas port. The bullet is now exiting, and you're getting a buildup in pressure here into this port and then into the back of the gun. So one of the things we're going to check is to make sure that the gas tube is aligned properly. That's one of the things we're going to do. From the bottom of this, the other thing I'm going to check is that it's lined up. If you look over here, I can use this rail as a guide to kind of tell me if this thing is centered or not centered, or if somebody was paying attention when they built it. So this is a good indicator on whether this is aligned or not. So if the gas block is straight up, I go through this mental checklist on how I'm going to check this, and this to make sure everything's correct. So is the gas block straight? That's one of the questions I'm going to ask. Is the gas block fully seated all the way back against the shoulder? That's the second question I'm going to ask. Is it lined up? That's a third question I'm going to ask. Is it the correct length? Now this one's kind of odd. There's pistol gas, carbine gas. There's some new dumb shit called patrol gas. This is mid gas. There's mid plus, I think, and then there's rifle. And unless you know exactly what you're looking for, it can be hard to spot. So another thing I'm going to check: gas tube is in position. So the other thing I'm going to check is down inside here. You need about an inch. Let me shine a light in there for you. You need about an inch of gas tube inside of that upper receiver to put that into position. We had one a couple of days ago that was the wrong gas tube. So everything looked right, but it was right there. Meaning, again,
It ain't got no gas in it.
so that's one of the things that we're going to, or several of the things that we're going to check here. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks on gas tubes and how I like to do it. And I'll show you a couple of DIY things you guys can do at home. I would highly encourage you to buy a gas block or gas roll pin starter punch. I wouldn't say it's impossible to do this without this, but it's hard. This is a Geisley block. So the tube, gas block. The one thing that I'm going to make sure of is that the tube is in the right position that way. I've had instances where the tube gets tight in the gas block. Like let's say you bought a really cheap Chinese gas block from, I don't know, some internet Bear Cave Outfitters or some shit, and it gets tight and you think it's in, and then you drive the roll pin in and it's in this position. Now the gas block and gas tube are tight. You put the whole thing together, no gas is going to get into this thing. So I've fixed this off and on for the last 20 years as well. So I like to look over here and make sure that the tube and everything goes all the way through. So when I do that, as with anything, a little lubrication will go a long way. And again, this is how this thing works. So this is a roll pin starter, roll pin holder. I can continue to pound that in. I don't like to do it. A friend of mine taught me this. So these are some parallel pliers, which I like to use. You kind of just squeeze it in, and boy, it makes this look easy and professional. And you don't beat the living crap out of the gas block. So that's another technique. So one more thing, make sure that you got gas in it. So again, barrel's installed, got some torque on that. Again, I forgot the Texas Pete's, not a big issue today. It's important that that hole and the hole in the gas block line up perfectly. So this is a Ballistic Advantage chrome line hammered, which comes with a Hansen block, and I really like these. So on this product, the barrel and the gas block have been mated together. So during the manufacturing process, the gas block was installed, clamped, cross-drilled for this cross bolt that I'm going to drive in here in just a second. And this is a mated, it's a mated piece, so very much like penguins. These two are mated, and that's it. I can't take this block and put it on another barrel. The hole won't line up. It'll be off slightly, forward, back, up, down. This is a one-for-one. These are not interchangeable products, so that's the same problem with front sight blocks on AR barrels. So guys will take the front sights off, pull the pins out and say, hey, can I put this on another gun? And I can't. If you're going to put a front sight space on, it has to be blank with no holes, and you've got to have the right fixtures to drill that and get it installed. And it's I don't have the technology for it. There's a couple guys in town here that do it. It's just you can't reuse that. This is a mated thing, again, like a penguin. So you need both pieces to make this thing work. And for those of you that don't watch the Nature Channel, penguins mate for life. So we're going to put a little tension on this. Again, I would normally red Loctite that, but this is just for the video, so I'm not doing that. So. A little bit of lube. And I broke my number 4 starter, so I'm just going to do this one by hand. So. So I know that's kind of primitive, but if I had a starter, that's what I would use. So, cross pin is now fully seated all the way through, and it's doing a couple of things here. It's keeping the gas block from rotating left and right, so I know I've got perfect alignment. It's also drawing the block down because under expansion and contraction. Anyway, the heat will cause this thing to expand and contract. This is just one more thing to keep that tight and keep it from moving. So. If I was leaving this together at this point, I would put a little more torque on it, put a little red Loctite on it, and call it good. So this is the gas block scenario. So the other thing I've seen, and I don't have any here to show you, there's some cheap Chinese gas blocks out there from Cave Bear Outfitters or whoever it is, but they drill the hole all the way through because they're lazy. So I have seen instances where the gas tube has been installed incorrectly that way. So the hole is here, but the hole on the barrel is there. So if the hole passes all the way through, I don't have a right way to describe that, but you want the pin towards the muzzle instead of the pin towards the receiver. So most of the blocks I buy are blind, meaning that you really can't do this wrong, versus some cheaper Chinese blocks that are out there. So this is another thing that I'll check to make sure the block isn't installed backwards. I've seen that happen too. So I know the gas tube's right there. Pin, block, tube, everything's done there correctly. This is the bolt carrier group, which is another key component of this situation. And there are some features inside of this. So this is the gas key. The gas tube is coming into the key here, and you're getting a buildup of pressure. So if this all looks good, the next thing I'm going to check is the bolt carrier. I'm going to take this apart and take a look. I'm going to make sure these 2 screws are still in position and not broken. Now, I have seen these either be loose, I have seen these be broken. So they look like they're in position, but one of them is completely snapped off. So as soon as I put a little bit of torque on this, the thing just spins, and the bolt head is busted inside of the bolt carrier. Now that's removable, that can all be done. But the first thing I like to do is make sure these two things are tight, because this is a gas seal between here and inside of here. Second thing, I'm going to pull it apart and take a look at the gas rings. So I don't want to go into the details on cleaning a bolt carrier and all that stuff, but and again, this is a premium bolt carrier that we carry. It's a phosphate body, chrome line key, chrome line body. These are Carpenter bolt heads, or bolts, excuse me, and these are Carpenter 158 heads, which I consider this the best thing going. It's just phosphate finish, chrome lined. This thing is bomb proof. They're about $165, and I know you can buy Chinese bolt heads for $80 or $90 on the internet. You can buy some lightweight Gucci nickel boron stuff, all kinds of shit. This thing just works, and you'll get a ton of life out of this thing. So gas rings, making sure the gas rings aren't broken or missing. I've seen all of that. I've had a gun personally where the bolt head had a defect and the back ring kept busting. So I put it on, did it. I got about 300 rounds, did it again, and then I figured out that there was the head was machined wrong, so it had a bevel to it. So that back ring just kept lifting and getting stuck. And what would happen is it would come back and it just wouldn't move because the ring had folded up over the top. So I have seen that occasionally. Again, this is another key issue that'll keep gas from flowing, through the whole system. So long story short, gas is coming through the tube. This is in the closed position. It builds up in gas pressure. This causes us to rotate forward under gas pressure and then cycle back, and then it comes back into the tube. So if it doesn't have any gas in it, it's not going to function. So I know we got a little off topic with that today. I hope that answers some questions on gas blocks, gas block installations, gas tubes, gas tube installations. I think I've covered almost all the problems and stuff that we ran into here at the shop. The first thing I would start with also before you get into this, and again look at some of the stuff that I pointed out here, is make sure you're shooting good quality ammunition. 5.56 in a 62 grain or 55 at the right pressure levels, and we'll do another video on 223 versus 5.56, but there is a significant pressure difference, and some of these guns just don't like that lower pressure 223. So the question I would ask, if you're shooting PMC 223A, which is really low pressure out of South Korea, it is garbage ammo. If you buy some 5.56 X-Tac from the same company, or some of the Winchester Lake City stuff, I would start with that. Sometimes just a simple pressure change will be enough to correct your problem. So, I hope you like this. Leave your comments. Tell us what you think. Have a good morning.